On a chilly night in 1947, a lifeless body was discovered wrapped in a blanket on a vacant lot in Los Angeles. The macabre scene set into motion a mystery that has endured for decades, gripping the public's attention and haunting investigators. Who was the woman found there? What led to her brutal death? And, perhaps most chillingly, why has her case remained unsolved while countless watchful eyes scrutinize the details, trying to piece together the clues? This is the haunting story of Elizabeth Short, more infamously recognized as the Black Dahlia, a title attached to her that carries both intrigue and horror. But she is far from the only victim lost to the shadows of unsolved murder cases that continue to provoke curiosity and fear. Tonight, we dive into the most terrifying unsolved murder cases in history, tales that will leave you pondering unresolved mysteries long after you've turned off your screen. As we journey through these sickeningly intriguing tales, you'll learn about not only the victims but also the societal failings and the chilling realities that allowed the killers to evade justice. Each unsolved murder case we explore features shocking twists, unexpected suspects, and, unfortunately, the consequences of insufficient investigative methods. You might be wondering, how could these cases go unsolved for so long? What happened to the dozens of detectives who pursued leads only to come up empty-handed? You're about to find out. First, let's take a look at the notorious case of the Black Dahlia. Elizabeth Short was an aspiring actress whose life was tragically cut short at just 22 years. Her gruesome murder shocked America and remains one of the most baffling cases in Los Angeles history. Found mutilated and disposed of as if she were trash, her body was severed at the waist, and her face displayed horrific signs of trauma. Who could commit such a heinous crime? In the years since her death, theories have abounded. Many have speculated that her murderer was someone close to the Hollywood scene, perhaps a jealous lover or an envious performer. But the questions only deepen from here. Did Elizabeth haunt the streets where her life flickered brightly, or did someone want to extinguish her ambition? As whispers of a connection to high-profile individuals surfaced, rumors morphed into conspiracy theories. Each revelation felt eerily tantalizing, almost too eerie to accept. Here lies the greatest question of all: why was her case left without resolution, a testament to police inability, or perhaps an unsettling confirmation that some crimes can slip between the cracks of understanding and enforcement? Just when you think you've got a handle on this unsettling tale, here comes a chilling fact that might leave you speechless. Despite over 1,000 reports and numerous suspects over the decades, the Black Dahlia's case remains cold. Law enforcement has always maintained an exhaustive interest in it, interviewing witnesses and claiming to have new information, yet the identity of her killer remains locked in the vault of unsolved mysteries. We thrive on certainty, yet this case reminds us that uncertainty lurks just beneath the surface, waiting to strike. Now, let's step into the early hours of that fateful day in France in 1991, where tranquility was shattered by the discovery of a body hidden within the pristine beauty of the Nancy countryside. The victim was a young woman named, tragically, Sophie Toscan Duplantier, a television producer with a vibrant life ahead of her. If Sophie had one wish, it would have been to escape her reality. That wish was gruesomely denied when she was violently attacked outside her home. The brutality of her murder was enough to send shockwaves across the nation and beyond, leaving an indelible mark on French and Irish society alike. The investigation into Sophie's death was riddled with controversy. As details emerged, a shadowed figure became a constant in the narrative: British national Ian Bailey. Residing in the area at the time, Bailey transformed from a witness into a prime suspect. His subsequent denials, mixed with outlandish claims of innocence, have sent investigators down numerous twisted paths. But why did the authorities fail to secure an immediate arrest? The family of Sophie didn't only lose a loved one, they felt robbed of justice as the investigation crawled at a frustrating pace for years. What comes next could compel you to reconsider your perception of justice itself. In a shocking twist, Sophie's family pursued a civil case in Ireland, hoping to seek justice through the courts, resulting in Bailey being found liable for her murder in 2019. But that verdict held little weight. Could one man truly face the consequences of a crime with no definitive proof to punish him? The echoes of Sophie's story continue to haunt Ireland and France, and the darkness surrounding her tragic end leaves an unsettling feeling that true justice remains just an illusion. What if you were caught in a dangerous game of chance, where the stakes were not only high but deadly? In 1996, the city of Jacksonville, Florida witnessed the perplexing death of 8-year-old Cherish Periwinkle, who disappeared while shopping with her mother. Her case is unsettling in ways that force us to confront the unavoidable question: how could any parent endure such pain? While initially a search for a missing child, the momentum shifted as the investigation revealed a predator, a man named Donald James Smith. Yet, even with Smith's capture and his eventual confession, another layer of horror unfolded, a haunting reminder that even the law can be twisted. Here's something you didn't expect. During his trial, Smith's mental state became a focal point. He claimed the child's disappearance was due to her own naivety. This would lead to surprising twists that echoed throughout the court and the hearts of the public. How could a man, who should be watched as the dangerous predator he was, ingratiate himself into the legal process, throwing the threads of justice into chaos? Public sentiment demanded answers, everyone desired closure, yet the tragedy of Cherish's fate revealed that justice for some can seem like an endless fight waged in shadows. As we reflect on these stories, do they not draw parallels to our lives? These unsolved cases reveal profound truths about the fragility of life and the precariousness of human existence. They remind us how quickly one can slip into the unremovable void of loss, leaving devastated families clinging to fleeting hopes for justice. But if these hints of impermanence disturb your peace, rest assured, the remainder of our exploration will uncover more chilling stories that augment your understanding of unsolved murder mysteries while pulling back the curtain on the nature of evil itself. Welcome to the next stop on this haunting journey, a landscape marked by shadows, with the case of the Zodiac Killer, a moniker that has become synonymous with fear and unresolved questions. This infamous serial killer tormented Northern California in the late 1960s and early 1970s, taunting police with letters filled with cryptic messages and grisly confessions. His reign of terror was punctuated by brutality, yet his face remained hidden, obscured by the veil of anonymity. How could a man operate under such chillingly calculated motives, leaving families scarred and society incensed? You might be wondering, just how many lives were forever changed by the Zodiac's actions? He claimed responsibility for 5 murders between 1968 and 1969. Yet experts suspect the actual number could reach into the dozens. Each thriller of his letters sent waves of fear coursing through communities, complemented by an unsettling realization that the mysterious killer was among them, able to elude capture, despite extensive efforts by law enforcement. As authorities pieced together the murky details of his identity, society became engulfed by the mystery. The Zodiac Killer crafted a mistaken image of intelligence, a sick genius, if you will, displaying a flair for the dramatic that captivated and repulsed the public in equal measure. Each cryptogram became more than just a puzzle, they were pieces of a ruthless performance where every wrong guess felt like an invitation to chaos. Yet heroes emerged. The tireless detectives, the amateur sleuths, and the individuals working in the media, all those who dared to untangle the enigmatic weave the Zodiac had constructed. But would any of them succeed? The hunt for the Zodiac Killer has remained one of the hottest cold cases in America, with countless individuals stepping forward to claim they had deciphered his codes, only to reveal nothing. How long could this last? In a chilling turn of events, forthright letters continue to arrive at news desks, stoking the embers of interest in this grim saga. Could it be that the killer still lurks, waiting for his next opportunity? The case against him only grows stronger with time, yet it remains ruptured by a terrifying void. Could he be watching, laughing at the relentless pursuit of an answer that remains maddeningly just out of reach? What we learn from these stories is that even as time marches on, the weight of these unsolved cases lingers. It scares us into alertness, reminding us of the fragility of safety and the potent presence of evil in our world. Yet there exists a fascination, an urge to explore the unknown and piece together the fragments of the mysteries that gnaw at our subconscious. What happens next, when a town's sanity hinges upon the unraveling of one more enigma? That's where we turn as we delve into the grim history of the Hinterkaifeck murders, perhaps one of the most chilling tales of unsolved murder in Germany. On a desolate farmstead outside of Munich in 1922, a family was slaughtered. The gruesome scene left investigators puzzled as every potential suspect seemed to vanish into thin air, leaving behind an illusory assurance of safety that shattered when the sunlight faded over the fields. Whispers lingered about a ghostly figure haunting the farm, perhaps a mere reflection of the terror that was sewn into the fabric of untold stories. But what if the killer was known, a resident within their community? What would compel a person to carry out such vile acts among familiar faces? The ambiguity surrounding the case only lays bare humanity's deepest fears. The unanswered questions envelop us tighter. Is there someone lurking in the shadows, blending among us, who could commit such a horror and get away with it? As we pause here, the investigation into the Hinterkaifeck murders serves as a potent reminder that even as modern techniques advance, the essence of human nature remains forever complicated. Do you grasp the magnitude of that struggle between darkness and light, the sanity of reason constantly beset by the tide of unpredictability? As our exploration ventures deeper, trust that the next chapters will expose even more terrifying truths hidden behind the veils of loss and silence. Each story we touch reveals a twist that makes us question not just the permanence of evil but the shadows that live among us, waiting, longing, and terrifying us all. So stay with us as we peel back the layers on the remaining narratives, revealing what happens next in this intricate web of lost lives and unanswered questions. The haunting pursuit of justice continues. As we piece together the unsettling fragments of the Hinterkaifeck murders, we're left with an enthralling yet harrowing puzzle. The family, Andreas Gruber, his wife, their daughter Victoria, her husband, and their young son, were brutally murdered in their home, but not before weeks of eerie occurrences had unnerved them. There were strange footprints in the snow leading from the woods to their farmhouse, distant sounds of movement in the night, and disquieting feelings of being watched. The horror culminated in a massacre that not only took lives but left the town shrouded in a cloud of dread, a palpable fear that evil sometimes dwells within the familiar. Despite numerous investigations, both local and statewide, the murders remained unsolved. The lack of modern forensic techniques hampered initial inquiries, with authorities unable to sift through the muddled trails left behind by an assailant who vanished into legend. Perhaps the most perplexing detail is that, for several days after the killings, the killer returned repeatedly to the household, living off the farm's resources, creating a nightmarish scenario that only deepened the enigma. How could someone commit such a horrifying crime and still feel at home in the very place where the slaughter took place? This case exemplifies a haunting truth, the lingering question of safety in our own homes, in our own communities. It gets to the core of an unsettling reality, that sometimes the most dangerous inhabitants are those we least suspect. Are we prepared to confront the possibility that the darkness may not just be out there in the shadows but within those we know? The Hinterkaifeck murders remain an ominous reminder of this stark reality, leaving an impression on societal consciousness and serving as a chilling mirror reflecting humanity's darker impulses. As we blaze through the annals of time and enigma, our journey now leads us to the case of the Long Island serial killer, whose haunting legacy has gripped New York since the discovery of multiple bodies along the iconic coastline. In 2010, the search for missing women veered horrifyingly sideways, leading investigators to a chilling realization: the coastline bore witness to the gruesome end of several young women who had fallen prey to a cold-blooded predator operating in the shadows of society. The discovery rapidly escalated from a local investigation to a national media frenzy as families grieved and communities were engulfed in horror. What makes the Long Island serial killer particularly unsettling is the stark contrast between the idyllic beachside lifestyle and the malevolent deeds committed behind closed doors. While the idyllic backdrop of the Hamptons casts a romanticized vision of wealth and tranquility, the reality reveals a darker truth: lives lost amid a veil of secrecy and hidden depravity. This killer exemplifies the essence of urban horror, an unseen menace lurking in the familiar landscape of suburban life, preying on society's most vulnerable. The frustration mounted as families yearn for answers. With each lead dwindling into obscurity, law enforcement grappled with a growing anxiety that justice was slipping through their fingers like grains of sand. As investigators sifted through a plethora of potential suspects, some pointing to high-profile individuals in the area, a greater question reared its head. What was it about these murders that allowed a killer to operate in plain sight, evading the very forces meant to protect and serve? Eyewitness accounts and unsettling details painted an intricate web of speculation and terror, as the name Gilgo Beach Killer echoed through the media, igniting public interest and despair. What we learn from these narratives is stark. It is essential to confront the horror that often remains just out of view. Each piece of the Long Island mystery evokes a spectrum of emotions: fear, anger, and an undeniable urge to seek justice. Yet, each unsolved murder in this series remains a haunting reminder of the profound divide between life and death, especially for those lost on the precarious roads of addiction and exploitation. Shifting from the haunting coastline back to urban landscapes, we can't ignore the complexity surrounding the case of the boy in the box, who was discovered in Philadelphia in 1957. This case stands as a tragic testament to serene innocence slipping into brutal silence. The young boy, believed to be between 4 and 6 years old, was found discarded in a cardboard box, shrouded in obscurity, never to be identified. With no leads and no known family, the investigation took on an enduring significance, eventually morphing into a grim historical inquiry that transcended the immediate horror of its initial discovery. This boy embodies the deeply unsettling notion of forgotten lives, innocent, voiceless, and lost to the cruel machinations of the world. Numerous theories attempted to decode the baffling circumstances surrounding his demise, yet the truth remains elusive, casting a shadow on investigations that span decades. As we reflect on this narrative, a poignant question surfaces: how can a society reconcile its own failings when a child becomes collateral damage in the web of systemic breakdown? The haunting absence of justice resonates as a reminder of the chilling reality that, sometimes, a name gets lost in a story uncharted by time. Moving ahead in our examination of these deeply troubling cases, we would be remiss not to revisit the scenes of some of America's most notorious unsolved mysteries, such as the Slender Man case. This tale, rooted in folklore and deception, spiraled into horrifying real-life consequences that left a mark on the collective consciousness. In 2014, the brutal stabbing of 12-year-old Peyton Lutner by her friends Morgan Geyser and Anissa Weier brought the mythos of Slender Man to life in the worst of ways. What can be more disturbing than the transformation of an internet urban legend into a catalyst for violence? This tragedy unveiled deeper layers of our society's vulnerabilities, tapping into a perverse fascination with the horror genre that transcended mere entertainment. The actions of the two girls drew questions about mental health, social media influences, and the blurred lines between fiction and reality, leading some to wonder if the killer could be more than just a figment of imagination. The chilling aftermath of this case forces us to reconsider the impact of narratives and the dark alleys they can lead us down. At a fundamental level, it raises a poignant inquiry: are we prepared to examine the psychological distress that can breed in the hearts of youth, propelled by distorted perceptions of reality? Peyton survived, but the wounds inflicted, ranging from physical to emotional, echoed throughout the community. There was no easy answer to the question of why or how such horrific violence erupted from a seemingly innocent playdate. As we navigate these narratives, we uncover a deeper reality waiting to be examined. Every unsolved case, every chilling twist in the saga of humanity's darker side offers us the opportunity, and the challenge, to confront the specter of evil that lurks in the shadows. In an era rife with questions about justice and accountability, one persistent truth remains: unresolved mysteries haunt us, leading us to ponder what lies beyond the veil of human action, forcing society to confront its existential dilemmas. Turning our gaze towards the chilling realm of disappearances, we encounter the haunting case of Maura Murray. In 2004, the young nursing student vanished without a trace after crashing her car in New Hampshire. A scene seemingly mundane became a state of panic and speculation. What initially appeared to be a simple traffic accident morphed into a perplexing investigation that birthed theories of foul play, abduction, or even self-harm. This confluence of possibilities only deepened the shroud of uncertainty, pushing her family into the unrelenting territory of grief and despair. As investigators combed through the wooded surroundings for potential leads, they were met with silence, an echo that reverberated through the hearts of those left behind. The exploration of Maura's life revealed unique details about the pressures she faced, uncovering a complex narrative of student life, mental health struggles, and a desire to escape, yet not a singular, tangible answer to her disappearance. Like shadows playing tricks on our minds, the public's imagination was drawn into a labyrinth of speculation, with amateur sleuths and true crime enthusiasts attempting to unravel a mystery that stymied seasoned detectives. At its core, Maura's story reflects the inherent need within us all to seek closure, to understand. Yet the deeper we delve into cases like hers, the more we confront the unsettling truth that tragedy often doesn't provide neat conclusions. The exploration of her unsolved disappearance leaves a significant imprint, a reminder of the vulnerabilities faced by individuals who walk among us, and the pressing need to listen and watch, supporting those battling demons that may remain hidden from view. As our chilling expedition winds down to its inevitable conclusion, it is paramount to reflect on the manifold complexities these unsolved cases unveil about the nature of humanity and justice. Each story serves as a reminder that the line between life and death, innocence and guilt, good and evil is perpetually thin, often overshadowed by fear and uncertainty. The darkness may lurk, but amid that fear lies a potential for understanding, a chance to confront the shadows, and an invitation to unravel the marrow of these mysteries. As we close this chapter filled with haunting tales and heartbreak, let us carry forward the echoes of those lost. May we honor their memories by fostering awareness, supporting investigations, and fueling discussions that keep their stories alive. Though these unresolved cases may forever haunt our world, they should also ignite within us a relentless pursuit for truth and justice, a crucial reminder of our collective responsibility to ensure that all stories are heard, explored, and cherished, even when the final chapters remain unwritten.